Do this.
Hello, everyone. I'm Andrew Can from TubeBuddy, joined with Catherine Manning, aka the Content Bug. I went ahead and did it for you. Welcome to the TubeBuddy YouTube channel.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So, in case anyone doesn't know, why don't you go ahead and explain who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Catherine Manning. My YouTube channel used to be called The Content Bug. I recently changed it, so you guys can find me on YouTube at Catherine Manning. But I talk about all things YouTube tips, growing on YouTube, making money on YouTube, as well as just what it really means to be a YouTuber, behind the scenes business of YouTube, all of that stuff. So I've been on this platform for over 2.5 years at this point, made a ton of mistakes. It took me a very, very long time to grow, but now we're here. So I'm excited.
So, today we're going to be answering a lot of questions from the chat, but while this is going on, the chat is exploding. A lot of people are excited to see you. So, I just wanted to say hello to everyone: Dr. Elo, Finn Connors, Lily Tree, Elite Creator TV, Michael Asmoa, Jessica the Crafty. So, one thing you have is a very clear and established community. When you were first creating your channel, how did you decide who you wanted to create content for?
So the way I started my brand, I got started with a blog first back in 2016. And the reason I got started is because I was really unhappy with my life. So I didn't really like my career and the direction that I was going. And there were so many other elements that went into that. But I decided that I wanted to create a brand for myself that was going to make me happy. And at the time, I just wanted to share digital marketing knowledge. I formerly worked in the digital marketing industry, and I wanted to help bloggers grow with a specific focus in SEO, because I feel like that gets really complicated and people get very overwhelmed. So I just wanted to be able to talk to bloggers and help them with digital marketing. And over time, it really transformed. And I kind of realized that my main audience is people like me, people that are in the same spot where they're unhappy with their career, or they want to get started on YouTube, or just grow their audience online and they have no idea how to do it. So I really try to share my journey as much as possible, and the reality of becoming a YouTuber and how long it's taken me to get to this point, and just try to help people that are in a similar spot that I was in, or honestly just anyone that wants to grow on YouTube.
And I think that's really incredible. And I love how open and honest you are, because a lot of the people in our space, they're kind of afraid to show that personal journey because
Yeah.
it is, like you said, personal. But to quote the quote you have behind you, no one can do what you do the exact way you do it, right? So I think that is very important. So we are getting a lot of love for you. A lot of people saying, Catherine, the content bug is on TubeBuddy. That is correct. So the way we're going to be doing this is we're going to be fielding questions from you in the chat. And if you're watching this in the replay, feel free to ask a question and we'll answer it here at TubeBuddy. But we also asked in our community tab, and if our mods could be so kind to link that, we're going to be answering some questions that were asked for you there. So the first question I kind of want to ask, Tab, and if our mods could be so kind. Sorry if you guys heard a little bit of echo there, the other tab open. But the first question I have is from our community tab, and it is
Mhm.
about the importance of tags. This is all about how to grow using keywords, right? So the
Yeah.
question is, do tags still matter in 2020?
In my opinion, and everyone has their own opinion about the algorithm and how it works, but yes, 100%. Actually, one of the questions I got this past week was, wow, you use a lot of tags. Why do you do that? And YouTube gives you 500 characters for the tags that you can include within a YouTube video. And I use almost all 500 of them because it does work. Like, it does matter. You're just telling YouTube the keywords that you want to rank for. And I mean, I believe in them. I do it for every single one of my videos.
And so to kind of go off on the tag point, this comes from Allah Loves, and they say, I have a question. In my niche, or niche, whichever you prefer, which is cleaning motivational videos, almost all of this videos use the same titles and keywords, so it's very competitive to get ranked in search. I
Mhm.
try different and creative ideas, but I have no results. What is the solution?
It's more so you have to target more so like long tail keywords or more unique keywords. If you're targeting like the very basic ones where it's only 2 words, so it's like cleaning vlog or something, that's going to be very, very hard to rank for. So I think the more specific you get, you've got a better opportunity of actually ranking high in multiple different searches.
So people might see that I'm changing the screen, but one thing I'm working on is pulling up our Keyword Explorer, and we might do a live demo, and I'll share it with you here so you can kind of see what we're talking about. But I think that's a very important thing. You said long tail descriptive keywords. So we know
Mhm.
what that is. A lot of times we say things. What if someone doesn't know what that means? So could you give an example if they're doing just general cleaning videos?
Yeah, yeah. So I should have explained that. That was my fault.
No
So
worries.
long tail keywords, it basically means more words in a phrase. So, when you're typing a search on YouTube, so whether it be like how to clean your kitchen stove or something, instead of just doing stove cleaning as your keyword, get more specific and you could actually include a tag that is how to clean a kitchen stove.
Exactly, and I like that. And it's being more specific because
Mhm.
let's say that you have an electric stove, right? Like we're no longer just cleaning a stove. We have a different kind. There's gas stoves, electric stoves, and
Yeah.
obviously we're both cleaning stove experts.
Yeah. No
but
one wants to see my stove.
but the fun thing about keyword research and what I really love about it is like the more you dive in, you end up finding people needing the things you can do, right? So if
Yeah.
cleaning in general is too saturated, to go on Catherine's point, the more descriptive you can get is really does make a difference. So instead of
Mhm.
stove cleaning as that general example, maybe we go electric, maybe we go further. So people always say to use long tail descriptive keywords. Can you go too descriptive? Can you go too far in that?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, one thing I do before I usually film a YouTube video even is I use TubeBuddy and I do some keyword research and I just figure out, okay, is this even a valid keyword to target? Because I myself have gone far too specific and found out that no one was actually searching for that keyword and it was really just going to be a waste of one of my tags. So yes, you can get too specific, but that's why you need to perform keyword research.
And I think that's a very fair point. So Scott Yates from the live chat, and if you have a question for us, make sure to use hashtag question. It just makes it a little easier for us to see it. But he says, how would I tag an animation channel? So I'm not sure if he's creating his own animations or he's talking about other animations. So how would you use keywords for an animation channel?
That's a good question. I've actually never had that example before. I'm so used to like gaming and lifestyle animation. So, one thing that I really recommend is step into your audience's shoes. So, what are they actually searching for on YouTube? And sometimes you have to dumb it down. And one of the things I say is like, talk to me like I'm a fourth grader. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And then that's kind of going to be your starting point. And once you start performing keyword research, you can more so figure out, okay, what videos have already been created on YouTube and what keywords are worthwhile targeting. I don't specifically know for animation what good tags would be, but that would be my recommendation.
From Aldi Mama says, congratulations on 100K, Catherine. And from
Thank
us at
you.
TubeBuddy, congratulations on 100,000 subscribers.
Thank you.
What has changed with your content creation from when you started to now through your journey on that 100,000?
Oh my gosh, so much. When I was first getting started on YouTube, I used to think that it was really easy to create a YouTube video, and all I had to do was sit down, film for like 20 minutes. I would do some basic cuts within the video, and that was it. Now it takes me days to just edit a YouTube video. So, like, the creation process has definitely changed for me, as well as even just like what I talk about on YouTube has changed. So, when I first got started, I talked about more so blogging, Pinterest. There was some personal development thrown in there, and now it's really just YouTube tips. So, I mean, topic as well as there's so much that goes into YouTube. And I feel like once you're a beginner, you don't really need to dive into all the crazy stuff. But once you get a bit more advanced, I mean, I love editing. So I think it's fun to take a while and edit my videos.
And I think that falling in love with the edit is one of the things that a lot of people find. And some people may fall out of love and may hire an editor, but some people may
Yeah.
enjoy it more. So I think that the more you do it, the more content you create, you start really defining who you want to help. And that's what
Mhm.
we found at TubeBuddy. And once again, congratulations on that 100,000
Thank
subscribers.
you. Thank you.
So this next one comes from Stock Investment Analyst, and they say, I have a question. You mentioned that adding subtitles to your videos so Google will index them. They're asking if they edit the automatic subtitles from YouTube, will they still get indexed in Google search? They're saying you've done a video on this.
I have not.
Again,
That's a really good question.
so I can kind of speak to this.
Okay.
YouTube and Google always are looking for information in any way, be it the automatic closed caption. So if you do go back and edit them, it will see that it makes them a new version of the closed caption, so it does count. But if you leave it just as the automatic, it's not going to do anything. But going back and editing those can help. But again, it's marginal, right? Like the most impactive thing you can do is create good content, right? Like I think that
Yeah.
is often overstated.
Yeah, one of the questions I've received in the past is should I spend time focusing on like my captions within my YouTube videos or do I spend more time just creating the next video? And I do think that it is important and yes, it can help you, but creating content consistently and creating high quality content, I think that's going to get you so much further than that one little thing.
And again, I think that makes sense because there's a lot more you can focus on. And one thing I find, like the
Mhm.
tag discussion we're having, is that people want one thing to help save everything. Like that's part of the reason I think a lot of people are like tags don't matter, because YouTube says tags don't matter alone, right? Like they're based on your title.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I think that that's a really good point. And I'm sorry if there's some awkward pauses. It's just the natural delay of a StreamYard conversation. But here is a really good question. And this comes from Grammy Hay, Ember Sky Media. And they said that they've been doing every trick they've learned to boost views on their channel. It's improving in an upward trend. The issue they're having, though, is that as a small channel, they don't feel like they have the hitting power or impressions that other people have out of the gate. So they feel like their videos immediately are at a disadvantage. They're basically wondering what can they do as a small channel to do better outside of the gate. So out of the gate, how would you do better?
Yeah. So, first thing I'm going to recommend, a lot of people don't like this advice, is stop thinking that you're doing everything right because there's always something else that you can be doing or something more that can just take you to the next level. And when you're first getting started on YouTube, I've heard this comment so many times, YouTube doesn't help promote small creators. If YouTube didn't help promote small creators, there would be no big creators. Everyone starts at zero. So if you're at the point where you're like, I'm not growing on YouTube, it's because of YouTube, there's something else that you can be doing there. But one thing I always say, and I've watched a ton of YouTube videos about growing on YouTube because I was in the exact same spot you're in. A lot of videos will say, in order to grow, you need to get suggested by YouTube. But in order to get suggested by YouTube, you first need to have those impressions, those views, the click through rate, all of that stuff. So focus on search. And like we already said, long tail keywords. Like the more of an opportunity you can get to actually get your videos in front of people, then you're going to start to get those views and you're going to get more traction.
So, similar vein here, this comes from Ferris Grump, and they say so video titles weigh more than tags during searches?
Um, so it's like, I'm not even sure how to comment on that. There's four main places where you want to include your keywords: your title, your description, tag. So if you just have a killer title, but you don't have any like keywords in your description or in your tags or something, it's not going to perform as well compared to other videos that have everything. So I don't want to say focus all of your energy on a title, although a title helps because it definitely gets people to click on your video. It's just like a combination of a lot of things.
Yeah, and just wanted to say we did have a bit of server lag there, folks. So if you see we froze or anything, just refresh. We should be back. However, I do want to kind of add to what you were saying is that YouTube says that tags should serve as your titles, right? So like your tag should be based on whatever you have titled the video. So like if you title the video how to get more views on YouTube, but then you tag it the ultimate way to earn money on YouTube, they're not relevant, right? They're not related
Yep.
to each other. So that's why people say tags alone do not matter. They need to service your title and your description. It's similar to what you were saying. So
Yeah.
I think that's a very good point. And I do love the advice that you gave a little bit earlier is like, you can never assume you're doing everything right. There's always something more you can learn.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, since there's always something you can learn, what is one thing you thought you knew about YouTube and then you were proven like, oh, maybe I could still learn here?
Oh my gosh. I feel like I've run into that so many times. So I don't know if I can give you a great example. I think probably like keeping people's attention. I thought I used to be really good at like my audience retention rate. And then I really dove into my analytics and I was like, wait, people are leaving 4 minutes into a video. I'm clearly not that good at it. So that's like something that I think you have to continue to learn as you go and just watch back your videos, figure out when people are dropping off and say, okay, what was I saying or what was I doing within the video and why did that cause people to leave? One thing I've heard before, people notice that viewers will leave the video if you say, okay, and my last tip is, they're like, okay, and I'm done. Like, I don't care. Like, I'll hear the last tip and I don't need your explanation. So that's something you just have to like continue to learn and grow. And I mean, the YouTube algorithm is always changing. Any algorithm is always changing. So you have to stay up to date with it always.
Agreed. So this next question comes from Margaret Fari, who says, Catherine, thank you for being you. What has been your favorite TubeBuddy feature and why? And let me just say thank you for that question, Margaret.
My favorite feature, and I will always say this, I feel like I use like the bare basics of TubeBuddy, and I know it has such advanced features that I'm not diving into, and I really should. But my favorite feature is just performing keyword research on YouTube, like figuring out if it's a good keyword, a poor keyword. I really take a look at the box that pops up on the right-hand side, and I dive into that. And then adding tags, like figuring out what is a good tag, because sometimes I'll start typing in a tag and I think it's good, and then they'll give me other recommendations or variations of that tag, and that really helps me to narrow in on what I actually want to use for that video.
So that is the Keyword Explorer. I think that makes a lot of sense. And one thing I can tell is just how thought out your videos are when you do them, be it from the way you shoot or the way you title and tag them. So in that vein of like how thought out your content is, how far advanced do you plan your content?
Right now. This is like, so I'm in the middle of a move right now, and I'm planning on moving in exactly a month's time. So currently I've got 2 videos scheduled on my channel. I've got 3 extra videos already shot, and usually I'm not that far in advance, but I'm trying to prep my content so that I don't miss an upload while I'm in the middle of my move. Usually I'll film my videos one week and then the next week they go live. So I always have a content calendar with a running list of ideas, and I try to map out all of my ideas for the month that I'm in so that I know exactly what I'm shooting. But in terms of filming and scheduling the videos, it's typically the week before they go live, and then they always go live at 11 every time, and I never run into troubles or missing an upload.
And I think that's important. There's a level of consistency you have that I think your audience knows too.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing I try to mention in like every couple of videos is that I respond to comments the first half hour that a video goes live. So I get a good core group of people that show up for the first half hour just to talk to me, and it's really cool.
And I think that also fosters a community, that the fact you're there and that you are interacting. So the more we see that you're in the comments, the more your audience learns that you're there, and it's that like, no, trust, you know?
For sure. And I always think it's funny when I see the comments that says like, I know you won't ever see this, or they'll talk about me like in third person, like, oh, I just love her. And I'm like, I'm right here. Like, love you too. Thanks for supporting.
I love when people in the comments are like, can anyone in this video help me? And it's like, well, I can.
I got you.
Exactly. So here was a really interesting question, and this comes from A Dose of Yum, which I love that name. And they say, how many total searches should we look for when targeting keywords? Their channel is just about over 700. So what they're talking about is like the total number of monthly searches. Is there a number you look for? How do you decide that this is a good keyword for you to go for?
So I think it's different based off of the level that your channel is at. So recently I uploaded a YouTube video talking about how to start a YouTube channel. And that keyword in and of itself is searched. I couldn't even tell you the exact number, but it's searched a lot. And TubeBuddy even told me that it was a poor keyword to go after, but I was like, heck, I think I have a chance here. So I still went after that keyword. So I think it's all relative based off of where your channel is at right now. If you have, I think you said 700 subscribers, I wouldn't focus on keywords that have, let's say, like 500,000 plus monthly searches. Like, try to keep it a little bit lower, because then you can be more specific and you can be really targeted towards your audience. But I do think as you continue to grow and you create more of like a reputation with YouTube, I would say, in your niche, and you become an authority, then you can target more of the harder keywords on YouTube.
So one thing I want to do, and people, you'll be able to see this as well, Catherine, people may have a weird little experience here, but don't worry, folks, it will be normalized, is if we look at this keyword here, we can kind of see that if we scroll down, there you are, ranking number 5 for it. So even though it is very competitive, as we're seeing here, there is a good amount of search. Like the barrier to entry, which I think a lot of people miss in the keyword explorer here,
Mhm.
is it's about 7,000 views. So that's something for if you're a smaller channel, if you can't hit the barrier to entry, which you could be the new barrier to entry video. But for the case of how to grow a YouTube channel, it was 7,000. Here is Catherine's video with a pretty good amount of views, if I can say so. So I just think that's something to bring to attention, that even if it's giving you a poor score, what is the barrier to entry, and do you think you can reach it?
Yeah, that's a good tip. I like that.
So a lot of people are saying that one of the things they struggle with is staying motivated during these times. How are you able to stay motivated during this entire situation?
For me, I feel like I almost have more of a sense of purpose, helping people get started on YouTube because I know there's so many people that either got laid off of their jobs, they're furloughed right now, or they're just at home and they have more time than ever. And if you've been thinking about starting a YouTube channel, I just want to be there to help you. And I know that so many people are just on YouTube watching videos. I feel like now is my time to actually provide people with what they want and what they're looking for, and also kind of be a break from the news and just everything that's going on because it really is a lot. So, yeah, I've just been trying to stick to my normal uploads, be positive and uplifting as I always am, because I just feel like we really, really need it right now. But I've seen so many people say that they're feeling unmotivated. They don't see the point in creating YouTube videos. And one thing I would like you guys to realize is possibly your channel is an escape for someone else. So if you have a lifestyle channel or even just like a comedy channel and you're trying to make people laugh, people need that more than ever. So push through it for your audience, but also do what's right for you. If you're feeling down and you don't want to create a video, don't do it. Don't push yourself to do it.
So this comes from Finn Connors that says, I love Catherine's channel because she always is trying to help
Thank
us
you.
get bigger and better. The and better I added, but it is the sentiment that I believe is there. So I do want to ask, just based on when you're creating content, is your audience how they feel based on a piece of content? Does that ever cross your mind? Because so many people are worried about, will I get views? Do you ever think, and this is a question I want to ask, do you ever think of how you want your audience to feel from a piece of content?
For sure. Yeah. And I feel like it's so common for any YouTuber, content creator, honestly, just artist in general. You can become so worried about how successful your art is, or creating YouTube videos, how successful your YouTube video is. But one thing I've noticed is like the videos that I feel like aren't going to take off end up doing so much better than the videos that I think are going to perform really well. And I've been in a place before where every single day I would check my analytics and I was like, oh, how many views did I get the day before? And if it wasn't good, then I was like, okay, what video can I create that's going to like pop off and grow my YouTube channel? But that's such a toxic mindset to be in. And I kind of like the way that you worded that question is, do you think about the way you want your audience to feel with watching a YouTube video? Because yes, like I never want to be a negative Nancy. Like I want to hit you with the real stuff and be honest, but I want to be motivational and inspiring and help people realize like you can do this. You're going to have to struggle if you want to be a successful YouTuber, but you can honestly do it.
And thank you for just the bits of realty before we get into the uplifting. Because one thing I think that is just as important is, in order to know where you want to go, you have to know where you've been, right? So you
Yes.
can't have that up without the down. And I think that that's something you do really well. So speaking of things you do really well, we mentioned a little bit earlier, you're in your community, you're talking to them. Someone asked, how can I get more engagement from my community? We talked about how important a community is, but how do you foster that engagement?
Yeah. So when I was first getting started on YouTube, I had obviously a very small audience. Like I remember when I had like 100 subscribers, and there were three core people that left comments on every single one of my videos. And I would always respond to their comments. I would let them know that they were appreciated. And you build a really small tribe at that time. But now I recognize those people. I see their names and I know that they've been there from the beginning. And that's really, really cool. But if you're trying to increase your engagement, first, respond to every comment, because every comment you leave is an additional comment on your video, and that's good. Second, if you can create a routine where people know that you're responding to comments, like people actually want to get to know you and they want to connect with you. So that's one of the reasons. I mean, I honestly just love talking with my audience, but it's one of the reasons why whenever I launch a YouTube video, I say the first half hour I'm going to be there, because one, then you guys are actually there when a video goes live, but two, we actually get to chat, we get to connect, and it does, as like a side effect of that, it does boost engagement.
Absolutely. And then there is a reward to those that can come early. Now, because
Mhm.
you give that benefit, I guess this is a question I have. Since you say you're going to be there early, have you experimented at all with YouTube's premiere feature?
No, I haven't. Just because, and I've gotten this question a lot, just because I honestly like responding personally to people, like one-on-one, I like responding. And I don't know, something about like just like the live chat, it seems a little bit impersonal for me. So I don't know, it's just preference. I'm sure I'll do it in the future, but as of right now, I like my 11 upload and then I respond to comments until 11:30.
And I think that makes sense. I like the traditional comment structure too, because it's always there, where the live chat you
Yeah,
kind of have to scroll through. So I understand that pretty much one to one. So
yeah.
this is another question from either Marguerite or Margaret. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. If you've watched any TubeBuddy stream, you'll know pronunciation's not my forte. But they say, from a mental health perspective, how do you deal with people giving you feedback that's not really related to the comment? So how do you deal with the comments that have nothing to do with the content?
That happens a lot. And I think, so I've been doing this for over 3 years. So I think because my growth was so slow and steady in the beginning, I consider myself lucky because I had kind of like a trickle effect of hate or just mean comments. And it was like gearing me up to get used to it with now 100,000 subscribers. Like I get hate comments every single day. But I don't know. I like you kind of learn how to deal with it and the way to go about it. So for me, what I choose to do, I respond to comments the first half hour a video goes live, and then I rarely ever look at my comments just because the negative comments sometimes can be really overbearing. And if I'm not in the best mental headspace, I do not want to go on my YouTube channel and see those negative comments, because even though there could be 1,000 nice comments, that one negative comment is what I'm going to remember. And I just want to like share this with you guys to prove that I am real. Like I struggle with this too, but one thing I have to remind myself is the comment that they're leaving, most of the time, it doesn't have anything to do with you. It has to do with something else that's going on in their personal life. And especially if they're leaving a comment on the video that has nothing to do with the video, nothing to do with what you said, just know it's not about you and you got to just keep doing your thing. Another great quote I've heard before is, if you're not receiving either love or hate, you're not doing all that much. So when I received my first dislike on YouTube, I honestly celebrated because I was like, yes, making people hate me, it's something. It's a step in the right direction.
And some of our chat is like Finn Connors, for example. How can anyone hate Catherine? But you,
Oh, trust me.
oh, I think that's an interesting point, because like at TubeBuddy, I experience that all the time. It's like, you have one of my favorite comments I've gotten, and just because of how absurd it was I just want to enjoy your content, but you're so ugly I can't enjoy it. And I'm like, I just imagine the person who's trying so desperately to enjoy what we do, but just can't get past that. But
Yeah, I've gotten some really ridiculous ones, and it's just going to happen. Like people can hide behind their computer screen and say whatever they want. So just got to keep doing you.
exactly. And I think just keep doing you is honestly something people forget, right? Because there is many yous on YouTube. There's you personally, but what I think is just as important, if not more, is you who is watching the content, right? A lot of
Mhm.
times when creators come on this platform, they're like, I want to make content for me. But what I tell them is, don't be surprised when it's only you watching, right?
Yeah, I mean, I ran into that problem when I was first getting started. I was like, I know consistency is important, so the way I'm going to be consistent is only create the videos that I want to create and just like have fun with it. And then I didn't grow for over a year and a half. Like, no wonder I was creating videos that I only cared about, no one else cared about. So, yeah, it's true.
Yeah. And speaking of video creation, we have another one that's based around keywords. When you're looking at the score in TubeBuddy, what are you looking at as most important? So I can share my screen again just so people can have an idea. So here we are. You guys can see my screen. I'll add it here. So people want to know, what do you deem as most important? So this is the score they're talking about because they said that they have an excellent search volume but poor competition. So how do you look at this? Because I'm just curious, because I look at this every single day because I work for TubeBuddy. But how do you break down our scores? Because I'm just curious.
Yeah, so the first thing I look at is just like the overall score up at the top. So it says fair, and I think it says 34.
Yes.
Um, to me, that's pretty low. And unless I think, hey, I still have a chance, I'm going to try to tweak the keyword a little bit more and get it to a spot where I like it. My main concern usually is the competition. So if there's way too many videos already created that are targeting that keyword and like says poor there, like you don't want to go after that keyword because you don't really have that good of a chance in actually ranking in search compared to if that's more so in like the yellow to green range, like that's kind of where you want to be. That's like the one thing I pay attention to. Definitely you want to pay attention to search volume, but I think competition can be like really hard. Like you can get lost in all the other videos.
Exactly. And I mean, there's only 24 million pieces of content for this one term. So I think that's very important because to answer the question, if you have excellent search volume, but the competition is poor, that's just saying that this is a good search term. Like a lot of people are searching, but you really need to stand out. Now, I do want to mention
Yeah.
we're using TubeBuddy's weighted score, which is taking our personal YouTube channel into account. The unweighted score just gives a general score, but I think that's a really good piece of information to know is that you're looking more towards the yellow and the green. I usually explain it kind of like a traffic light. And if you
Ooh.
understand that, it's pretty simple when you look at it like that. Red means stop and consider you. Well, red and traffic means to stop, but for keyword research purpose, I just say red means to stop and consider another keyword. Yellow is to be cautious of the keyword, but if you're the kind of person that during a yellow light that means speed up, then maybe go for it. But
Yeah.
that's one thing I tell people is, how comfortable and confident are you in your ability to create a piece of content around that keyword? Because the keywords are just helping you create content, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I would say, so when I'm coming up with my tags, I feel like this is different from like when I'm forming a title for a YouTube video. But when I'm looking at my tags, if I include a few that are more so in like the red, poor, don't go after, I'm okay with that. But I want the rest of them to be more so yellow and green. Like I don't want to not go after them, always shoot big, do what you can, but just realize those may not be your top performers. And those might be the keywords that you just want to include in your tags and then maybe have a different variation in your title that you have a better chance of actually ranking for.
I think that makes a lot of sense. We have another question from Marguerite, or Marguerite. I'm just going to keep saying both. There are some really high priced YouTube courses. Do you think that there is anything else we can learn that isn't already available to us that is online? So they're wondering, like, what is the value of courses?
Yeah, so I'm semi a course creator myself. I've really moved away from it because I don't love creating courses. That's one question that I think a lot of even course creators run into is, okay, you can get all this information for free. Why would I want to have people pay for it? And in reality, I've even bought bought courses in the past. So I paid for two courses. One of them was $500, and I did it because it gave me a structure and it helped me to get to where I wanted to go faster compared to me spending a ton of time searching on YouTube how to edit videos or like this one simple trick, like how to get like the watermark down there. A YouTube course is actually going to teach you all of that. So it's really just, it's convenience, honestly, in my opinion.
Well, it's like any other tool, right? Like, you, in theory, could chop down a tree right now with your bare hand. It would hurt, it would take a long time, but you can go out there by all means and do it.
Yep.
Or you can buy an axe or a course or whatever helps make that process simpler, and it can
Yeah.
just speed it up. Like, TubeBuddy is
Yep.
that way too. It's a tool, right? Like, it's how you use it. So
Hmm.
when it's coming to keywords, do you think that they're an important part? And I'm talking more tags, like they're an important part of the creation process?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so I should specify this. I got started in the digital marketing industry and I learned SEO as in like Google SEO. So how to rank on Google. And I'm really glad that I learned that first because that is so much more complicated than YouTube.
Yeah.
But I learned from that experience just how important keywords are. Like if you want to rank in search, like you need to know the keywords that people are actually searching for so that you can rank. So What I typically do is if I have a video idea, and some video ideas I already know are going to perform really well with my audience. Like if I'm talking about how much money I make or how to make more money on YouTube, I already know that's going to do well. So I don't have to do as much keyword research. But if I have a random video idea that's still talking about YouTube, but if I have that video idea, I will perform keyword research first to figure out, okay, are people actually searching for this? And can this actually perform on the platform?
So I think that last statement, are people searching for this and can it perform? A lot of times people aren't checking if anyone is looking for it, right?
Yeah.
So we have one question here, and it's more of a statement than a question, but maybe you can add to this. It's from Delta Facts, and they said, "Ma'am, my channel is not growing. I've published 30 videos. Please tell me why this is happening." So how do you respond to questions like that? Because I always find that those kind of questions interesting, right? We have a similar question from the forum, and this comes from Inspired Lifestyle Barbados, and it's a similar like, I'm doing a lot, but I'm not growing. What would you say to that?
Yeah, so it's tough love, guys, and you're not gonna like me for this, but you said you've launched 30 videos. I've got like 180 some videos. Like it takes time. 30 videos, like you have to realize for every video you upload on YouTube, you increase your opportunity of appearing in search and actually getting people to find your channel. So if you only have 2 videos on your channel and you're like, I'm not growing, you don't really have as much of an opportunity to grow compared to other people that have more videos. So I mean, there's a lot that goes into maybe why you're not growing right now, but stick with it and don't check your analytics every day because you're going to drive yourself insane.
Exactly. And I think that's important. One thing we actually did at TubeBuddy is like we found out on average how many videos it takes to actually hit like even the 1,000 subscriber mark. And like what we found is it takes like a lot of videos. I'm going to post this in the live stream chat now if you're curious on that data driven piece we did, but it's not as easy. And like another piece of data we found was like on average it takes people 5 years to reach that first 1,000 subscribers, right? So it's like it's all based on understanding where you're at. So at 30 uploads,
Yeah.
to say what you're saying, you need to keep creating more. And I love how you use opportunity there. We call it search engine optimization, but I'm starting to think another thing we should also consider calling it is search engine opportunity. Because when you're optimizing for searches, you're basically optimizing for opportunity to be seen through the search
Mhm.
engine that is YouTube.
Yeah. 100%.
So just kind of keeping on the question train, because I think this is kind of going into SEO, right? So
Mhm.
your channel grows very fast, but then suddenly, Catherine, you change your name. Can you explain your strategy? This comes from you talked about we're both flubbing pronunciation, but I'll just flub it again. Palongi Inspirasi?
Great work. Good job.
Thank you.
Oh man, let me just tell you. So it's really hard being an SEO person and then not abiding by like what I would typically say. So when I first got started with the content bug, my website's the content bug, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, everything is the content bug. And I knew that was good for SEO. But one of the things I also did behind the scenes, because I kind of figured this was something that I was going to do, I incorporated Catherine Manning into a lot of my stuff. So on Instagram, my name was already Catherine Manning. On YouTube, in my description, it said Catherine Manning. One of the tags I always target is Catherine Manning. Like I wanted to make sure that that branding was already set up. Now, one of the other questions I get asked is, I'm getting married here soon, and they're like, "You branded yourself as Catherine Manning, and then you're going to change your last name. What the heck are you doing?" And in reality, my branding is going to stay Catherine Manning because I'm already so set in stone with my SEO. If I tried to change it to my future last name, that's going to be way harder for me to rebrand, and that's going to more so hurt me. So I'm sticking with Catherine Manning, and I've been kind of working up to this for a little while. And the other thing that came across my head is I knew that I was going to do this, and I was waiting for so long. I was like, once I hit 100,000, then I want my plaque to say the content bug because most of my growth happened under the content bug. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to change it after that. And then it hit me the longer I wait, I'm building an audience that knows me as the content bug. And when I make that change, it's going to be a lot harder. So I would rather make the change now and continue to grow as Catherine Manning compared to kind of stunt my growth in the future by doing the change then.
And I think that's an interesting point. It's like you set yourself up. Like it wasn't something that it's like, boom, I'm now Catherine Manning. You planted the seed so that it was a
Yeah.
gradual change. So people that know your content aren't necessarily as shocked as if one day you're like, by the way, this is it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, even if you go to YouTube right now, like I'm ranking for Catherine Manning because I've already set up my channel that way. So it's like, even this rebrand, like my website isn't changed yet, and I've got a lot of other things that have to change. It takes a while. So it's not like this was like an impulsive decision. Like I've thought this through.
And that's fair. So, speaking of like unimpulsive decisions, right? Like this is something I'm sure none of us do based on an impulsive need to get better. How often are you checking your analytics? Because it's definitely not like we're doing it because we want to check every day.
Yeah, so I now is not a great time because I would check my analytics basically every day to figure out when I was gonna hit 100,000. So I feel like that's not a great example. Typically, I will only check it twice a week. So when I launch a YouTube video, I will check that day just to see how my channel is doing. But like I've already said, I've been in that toxic spot where I was checking my analytics every single day and I just knew it was unhealthy for me. So yeah, I try to only check it twice a week, but sometimes it's more than that.
And I think that's a good, healthy amount. I mean, I've talked to some YouTubers that are in there like they check once every hour, and I'm like, there's a point where there's like diminishing returns, but I think there's a healthy amount to be in your analytics, and I think you have hit that. Another fun thing I'd like to say is that we are up to 283 watching. The highest we've ever hit at TubeBuddy on a stream was 298. So you've almost beaten that record, folks. So if you would like to help Catherine beat the record, share out this stream to people that can find this information helpful, because a lot of people are liking what we're discussing. A lot of people are really enjoying the conversation. So help other people find it too. So, first of all, thank you for being here. And I'm
Yeah,
going
of
to keep
course.
saying that because this has been a long time coming.
Yeah, it has.
You were kind of like a proverbial white whale for me, because like I've tried many different times to reach out to you, but it's like I never knew. And then one day I'm like, I'm just going to tweet her. Maybe this will work.
And the funny thing is, I never get on Twitter. So I saw your tweet, and I think it was Roberto Blake like retweeted it or sent something. And I don't know, I never get on Twitter. And it was by chance that I got on that day, and then I sent you a DM, and then I forgot to check Twitter for like 2 more weeks because I don't get on Twitter. So yeah, we made it happen. That's all that matters.
Exactly. So speaking of making it happen, a lot of people now are creating YouTube content, and we have a couple of questions that were all based around, I don't know what to make my first video on. What should I do? What is your advice for people looking to make either their first video or maybe even their next one?
Yeah, so I've gotten that question before. Your first video, I think a lot of people want to do like an introduction and explain who you are and what the channel's about, and then that can be like your trailer. In reality,
Sorry about that. So sorry about that,
I
but
was gonna say, is it just me or what's going on here?
no, it seems like internet problems galore, but we are back. Some people are saying lagging. If you do hear some lag, please just refresh your stream. However, why don't we just re-ask the question, what would you recommend for people creating either their first video or their next piece of content?
Yeah, so a lot of people, I feel like I'm going to reiterate what I said. So if any of that was caught, a lot of people want to create an introductory video where they explain themselves and what their channel is going to be about. When in reality, all of the videos you upload to your channel should be proof and validation of what your channel is about. So just get started with your content before you even create your channel, or even if you're just a couple of videos in, sit down and brainstorm 20 plus videos that you could create and then just get started. Try to create binge-worthy content that works well together. So if someone watches one of your videos, they're going to want to watch another video, but start with like the core foundation and just have some fun when you're getting started. You're really going to figure out your filming style, your editing style, and your first couple of videos are not going to be great, but you have to go through that phase. All of us have gone through that phase, and you can even go back through my channel. I still have the first video I ever uploaded on my channel. So trust me, it was a mess.
I think that's a common struggle. So this goes into kind of that struggle at the beginning, right? So this comes from your side hustle, and they say, should I have a focused niche slash niche just in case, or try different things related to what I want to do when starting? So should I have one hyper focused thing I want to do, or should I try multiple different things? What is kind of your stance on that?
So for me, your niche is just your main category. So when I was trying to grow on YouTube, I was like, okay, my main niche is digital marketing, but there's so much that goes into digital marketing. And I ended up deciding to focus on three things: blogging, Pinterest, and how I did something, which is really funny because that weird extra category ended up turning into me talking about YouTube because I shared when I got monetized on YouTube. I shared my journey from 0 to 1,000 subscribers. Like I was just trying to share my journey and that experience. And then it turned into YouTube really likes these videos. This is doing well for me. I'm going to talk more about YouTube. So I think sometimes you don't really know the direction your channel is going to go. And if you can pick a few like specific topics that still relate to each other, and then maybe even niche down even further once YouTube starts recommending your videos or one of the videos is taking off, that's going to help you to grow.
And I think that's an important thing, is like you gave yourself different opportunities of things you're all interested in, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you followed what was working. A lot of times people see something that works and they get scared or they don't follow it up. So I think it's very important that you were able not only to identify that it was working for you, but keep creating on that idea.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when I was getting started on YouTube, I feel like everyone else, I was watching YouTube videos about how to grow on YouTube, and I constantly heard ride the wave, ride the wave. When YouTube picked up one of your videos, you want to create other similar videos. So I did that, but I still wanted to talk about blogging and Pinterest, and I uploaded a few videos, and they basically tanked. Like they didn't get any views. YouTube didn't promote them. Like it was not good. And I realized that if I wanted to continue to grow and scale the way I wanted to, then I had to talk more about YouTube. And I was really lucky because, like you said, I picked topics that I actually enjoyed. I think a lot of people will just ride the wave and then they'll create videos that they don't like creating. And then they're kind of stuck because if they try to make a transition, YouTube doesn't want to promote that content. They want to promote the other type of content. So I honestly, I love talking about YouTube. I think it's so fascinating. So I would say kind of lucky in that way, but it was also a strategy.
Yeah, so I think there was still an informed strategy on your passions, which I think is possible. And
Yeah.
people tend to want to just be like, a lot of people when I hear like detractors to strategy, they're like, but it takes away from the real me. How do you find a way to have your real voice be heard when you're doing strategy?
That's a tough question.
I wanted, like I said, I've seen a lot of interviews. I wanted a lot of good, easy questions, but then some thought-provoking questions. Because I was telling Catherine and everyone before before the stream started, like I had already watched the Content Bug, but before this, I had become like a super fan. So I wanted really good questions for you because I know our audience wants to know them too.
Yeah, yeah, that's so good. That's like one of the questions that I wish someone would have prepped me ahead of time so I could have gave like a really informative response, but you guys get the real one. Um,
Maybe
so
make
I
a
think
video.
I think it's kind of hard because a lot of people, so when YouTube was first getting started, people did it because they loved it because it was a hobby. And then they realized it could be a full-time job, and then it was great. They turned their hobby into their career. Awesome, great. It still revolves around them. It's very much so them and their personality. Now we're in a day and age where people know you can become a YouTuber and people get started on YouTube to become a YouTuber. But the way I created my brand, I did it because I was really unhappy with my life and I wanted to do it for me. So one thing that I tried to do with all of my videos is I never wanted to upload cringy content, like things that I would look back on and be like, oh my gosh, why'd you do that? Even though no one's a natural their first time around. So it's just like not great. But I don't know. That's so hard because I've gotten the comment before. A lot of my videos are very analytical. So when I say, okay, this month I gained 16,000 subscribers, I've received a comment before that said, stop talking about us like we're just numbers. And it's
Mm.
really hard because this platform is analytical, it's an algorithm, but it also is about community and connection. So it's really hard finding that balance. And I don't know. I just try to stay true to who I am, create content that I enjoy. And yes, there has to be a strategy there. Like this is a business. This is what I do full time, but it's also so much more than that. And I don't know if I answered your question really well,
No,
but
I think you did, and I think I think the realness there, because when people say they are afraid to be real, when like they feel like causing like planning and strategizing takes away from that realness. What I think they're forgetting is that while making that, you don't have to script everything out. You can just
Yeah.
speak on a subject. And similar as you said, you learned from your community things that they didn't like, right? Like those 16,000 people, when you're talking about the analytics, what that taught you is that those are real people and that you need to remember that. It's not that you weren't aware
Mhm.
of it, but sometimes hearing it from
Yeah,
your audience makes you go, oh, yeah, I should probably remember that. And I think that our audience can teach us different things every day. So
for sure.
we have a question here, and it's based on the cringy content point. And they said this is actually from what we have asked, and they said, I am afraid my content is cringy currently, but I'm still learning. What did you do when you're learning to help relax you before you uploaded? So they're looking for advice on how you're able to relax yourself before you hit record.
Yeah, so one thing that I did, and I would highly recommend this, you just need to get used to talking to a camera. Like, even this situation here, well, it's different because I'm talking to you. Like, there's a person on the other side of the screen. But if I'm talking on my phone and it's just Instagram stories, like, even that is a little weird. Like, it's not something that we're born with. Like, I don't think so. If people are, that's cool for them. But for me, it was really, really hard to get used to talking to a camera. And that's typically where the fear and the cringiness comes up because you want to put on a show, you want to be liked, and that's very common. So start recording videos you never plan on uploading. What I used to do is I would have my camera with me in the kitchen. So I've heard this thing before that like Tom Cruise does his best acting when he has food or something because it's more natural. So he tries to like eat a decent amount in his movies or something. I'm not sure if it's Tom Cruise, but I think that's it's kind of the same thing. So pick a task that you're used to that's very natural to you. For me, that was just cooking dinner. And I would just pull out my camera and I would talk about honestly nothing. Like it would be so silly. I was just trying to get used to talking to the camera like it was a friend. And that made me get a little bit better and better. And it's going to take time. There are still some days where I'm filming a YouTube video and I second guess everything I'm saying and I repeat myself all the times. But yeah, just try to talk to your camera more. You'll get used to it.
I love that advice. And one thing I learned when I was in school, because I went to school for directing, and it's called a secondary activity. So it is in your example, it was cooking, right? So it was doing
Yeah.
something that's natural to you so that it doesn't feel as foreign, because that is
Mhm.
a skill a lot of people aren't aware of, is just how hard at times it can be talking to this machine.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is. And I don't know, I think it's very easy to look at really successful creators, like people that have millions of subscribers, and you're like, oh, like they make it look so easy. This is going to be awesome. I'm just going to record a video. And like it's taken them years to get to that point. So don't compare your starting point to someone else's years of work.
Exactly. And one of the things I think makes someone a professional is that they make something hard look easy. They make something
Yeah.
that is very challenging for most seem seamless. And speaking
Mhm.
of seamless, I work on my transitions to be so. So
You've done a great job.
well, thank you. That is one thing I've been working on. And thank you again for being here. I saw at one point we hit 297. So we are very close to beating that record. I think we can. So let's do it for your 100K celebration, huh? But I do have a question, and this one comes from our audience, and it goes, you currently have a really defined niche, you know what you're doing. How long realistically do you think you can keep up creating content? So this goes to any creator. Like, how are you able to keep creating content for your niche?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a very, very great question. And one that I've gotten a lot is do you think you'll get bored of talking about YouTube? And honestly, yes, I do think I will. And I think that's a problem with a lot of creators is they say, okay, I can only talk about this one thing. And if I like steer my way out of that, then I'm going to hurt my channel or I'm not going to grow. And that was an additional reason why I wanted to change my brand to Catherine Manning because I want my brand to be me. So yes, I talk a lot about YouTube, but I also incorporated vlogs within my strategy. So every Friday I upload a vlog that's more so behind the scenes business of YouTube because I really love the business of this. And I think that there's so much more that I can share that goes into being a YouTuber and still definitely helps with like sticking to my niche, talking about YouTube tips, but also allows me to expand a little bit so that I can talk about more stuff that's also going to be impactful.
And again, one thing I love just talking to you is like how there's always been a strategy. Like there's been
Yeah.
a clear planning, and that goes underappreciated. That's another skill that I think people lack. So the chat's going crazy. We hit 310. You officially are the largest stream we've ever had on TubeBuddy. A
Ah,
round
thank
of
you
applause
guys.
for Catherine. Like I said, your audience showed up in drones. So I want to keep them happy. 312 just before I've been corrected. Sorry. But
Noted, guys.
people are like, you give her the props she deserves. Got it. So this comes from Danny Hatcher, and it goes into how do you plan your schedule? Like we talked about, you clearly have a strategy. When it comes to planning your scheduling, do you just sit down one day and is like, this is what I want to do, or how does that work for you?
No. Oh man. I am so organized. So I've been working from home by myself for 3 years. My first year working from home, I worked for a company. I still had a full-time job, and then I was working on my side hustle on the side, obviously side hustle. But back then I really learned how not productive you can be working from home. Like it is really easy to roll out of bed, just want to wear your pajamas all day, like not even shower, do some work, watch some TV. Like it's really, really easy to do that. So I learned, especially during that first year, that I need to be productive with my time. So what I actually do, and I've shared this on my channel a couple of times, but I'm very structured with my days. So every Monday is a filming day for me. Every Thursday is a vlogging day for me. And then Tuesday and Friday are mainly editing days. I also take Instagram photos that day. Wednesday is an IGTV day. So I'll take it, or I'll film an IGTV, and then I will also edit it that day. But I'm very, very structured with my days. So every day I wake up with a purpose. And then that also helps me to stay consistent on YouTube, because a lot of people run into the problem like, I don't have time to film and I just don't know what to do. I can't stay consistent. For me, I have a set day. Well, I have 2 set days every week that I'm filming, and I know no matter what, I'm filming that day. Like I don't care if it is pouring or just like blizzarding outside, like I'm filming that day no matter what. So I really do have a routine and a structure for myself, and that makes me feel productive while working from home, but also holds me accountable to all the things I need to create.
I like that because within knowing that you're going to be filming on those certain days, it kind of takes out some creators have fear like, oh, I'm not working, I'm not being productive. But when you set like, this is the day I'm filming, you're giving
Mhm.
yourself the ability to enjoy some time off while coming up with new ideas, because it's easy to get burnt out. That is something that we've
Yeah.
heard a lot of. But by giving yourself a structure like that, it's kind of like, as you said, it's easy to be unproductive, but it gives you freedom in your productivity. And I think that is a very, very beautiful thing that you've been able to establish.
Yeah, definitely. And there was a time when so my uploading schedule used to be every 3 days, and I thought it was so cool, and it was, like, so different. But the hard thing about that is every week your filming day changes. So I would run into the point where I couldn't sleep at night because I was like, "Crap, I have to film tomorrow, but I don't have a video planned, like, I don't have the bullet points that I wanna cover," and I just, like, started to drive myself a little bit crazy. So then I changed my uploading to Tuesday and Friday, so I know I filmed the week before, but I know the day before I'm supposed to film, I need to figure out exactly what video I'm filming. Typically, it's planned out weeks in advance, but I know exactly what video I'm filming. And then I'll also have, okay, here's what I'm going to talk about. And I don't fully script my videos. That's another question I get is, do you like fully script your videos? No, I give myself bullet points, things I want to talk about, and then I just let myself roll. But yeah, it saves me on like the stress level of creating content.
And I like that. And I think that you found a system that works for you. Someone just asked, TubeBuddy just hit 300K and Catherine hit 100K. Did you plan this? We did not. It just, we're not that strategic in advance. I don't think Catherine and I were both like, today we're both going to hit our big goal we want.
Yeah.
But I think that is a fun question. So, this is one from Misha Fun Club, and it says, hi, Catherine, does the video duration matter? Is it okay to have less than a 5-minute video, or do you need a video that's longer? So they're basically asking for length. Like, what is your thought on video length, and what are you looking for when you make a video?
Yeah, so if you go to my channel, all of my videos are over 10 minutes long. Recently, my videos have been almost 15 plus minutes long. And there's a few reasons why I do that. One, YouTube likes longer videos. They want to keep people on the platform watching longer, watching more videos. So if I can do that, they're more likely to recommend my video. So I make them a little bit longer. They're not like dramatic. I think the longest video I ever uploaded was over 30 minutes. And I apologized in the video because I was like, this is a long video. But so one reason YouTube likes it. The second reason is the longer your videos, if you're not monetized right now, this may not seem like a problem to you, but when you get monetized, this will be something you realize. Videos over 10 minutes long can have ads in the middle of them, and that increases your opportunity of making money off of YouTube. So really, if you want to turn this into a full-time job, you're helping yourself get there. So you may not be thinking about it now, but once you get monetized, ads will be on those videos and it's going to help you.
So Neurotic Mox Music says, that's interesting. I would have thought that shorter videos would be more desirable. So to what you were saying, I think my stance on a video is make it as long as you can and keep people watching when you're starting. But once you hit a point that you can keep people watching, which you're learning, and which you have already said you've kind of learned how to do, I think you can definitely extend the length. But when you're starting, I always say make the video as long as it needs to be.
Yeah, that's another good point. Like, you don't wanna make a 20-minute long video that's talking about nothing.
Yes.
Like, if people aren't watching the video, then that's not actually helping you, so that is a really good point to bring up. Like, pay attention to your average view duration, and one thing I used to think is, okay, I want my average view duration to be longer. Like, I know that that's something that I need to pay attention to, so I was like, "Okay, people are only watching my videos for 3 minutes. I'm gonna make my videos 3 minutes long." I did that, and people only watch for 1 minute. So it's not helping. Like, create videos that, just like you said, that was like such a good thing. Like, create videos that are as long as they need to be. Don't fill them with fluff because that's not actually going to help you. But yeah, I do prefer uploading longer videos myself.
And I also think that the longer the video is, sometimes if you, because some people artificially shorten their videos, right? I feel like you can sometimes lose some of the detailed explanations in a shorter video. So there's pros
Mhm.
and cons. Ultimately, what is working the best for your channel? Because your channel is going to be different from the TubeBuddy channel. It's going to be different from Catherine's channel. What is your audience that you have built relating to?
Yeah.
We are at 324 watching now. The chat is like, you are at the highest, and I see this. So Chance D&D Spellbook asked, what do you consider a good CTR? And I just want to quickly add that YouTube says a average CTR is 2 to 10%. But what do you gauge as a good CTR?
See, I hate that statistic because when you look at your like 2 to 10% is a pretty big gap. Like, if
Yes.
you look at your analytics and you're like, okay, I have a 4% click-through rate. Like, is that even good? Like, you don't really know. Like, you just know if you're at 1%, that's not good. One thing that I've noticed for my videos that end up getting suggested by YouTube is the click-through rate has to be 4 or a little bit higher percent. 4% or a little bit higher. But honestly, there are so many different factors that go into the algorithm. And I think if you're only focusing on your click-through rate, like, there's so many other things. I've had videos that have like a 2% click-through rate, and to YouTube, it's like 2 to 10. That's like on the low range. There's other factors that have determined that, oh, this video is actually going to do well and it's going to actually get recommended.
Yeah, because like if you have like 10 million impressions but a 2% click-through rate, that's great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
It's all relative.
yeah, it's all relative. So I think that's a great point, because some people are like, well, my click-through rate is 0.5% and they have like 100,000 impressions, and it's not as bad as you'd think. So
Yeah.
I would always say I think that there's other data to look for when it comes to click-through rate. So Megan Holdham says, my CTR always starts low and then shoots up after a week. Is this weird? Have you seen that yourself? How is your CTR when you upload a piece of content personally, Catherine? And what is the trends you notice when it comes to your own click-through rate percentage? Just curious.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't pay that much attention to it. The only reason I look at my click-through rate is to figure out, okay, why did this video have a really, really low click-through rate compared to this other video? And typically it's because like I titled the video weird, or I titled it in a weird format, or the thumbnail. So one thing I've noticed is thumbnails that don't have my face in it don't perform nearly as well for me. So that's the reason why I look at my click-through rate. My only thought with why your click-through rate would be different from the very beginning is because when you first upload a YouTube video, your best chances of getting views is from your subscribers.
Hmm.
So maybe your subscribers aren't actually interested in that video. And then when it actually ranks in search or it appears on people's home pages, other people are interested in that video and they're more likely to click on it. But I don't know. That's just my general thoughts.
And I think that makes sense. I think that if you obsess over click through rate, you're obsessing over something that you have control over to a certain extent. But
Yeah.
unless you have a strategy to work on improving the click through rate, like if all you're doing is looking at it every day and seeing it either go down or go up, you're going to drive yourself mad.
Yeah, and I think that's so common, especially when you want to grow on YouTube. And I feel like my channel is not the best because I talk a lot about analytics and I do love analytics, but I don't want you guys to ever think that you have to check your analytics every day and you have to like be doing better and better and better. Honestly, take a look at your analytics to figure out, okay, what video is getting views, where is it coming from, and what you can do to improve your videos. Don't become so obsessed that you end up hurting your creative process.
Yes. So I saw someone say, let's support each other. So I want your opinion because that is a gateway to sub for sub, which I just want to also preface to everyone watching. Sub for sub is against the YouTube terms of service, can get your channel banned. So don't do it. But what do you feel when you get those, let's support each other, let's hug each other? Those are some of the terms.
Okay, a great quote is short term, like strategies, tactics, do not get you long term results. So if you are trying to just do sub for sub and you're trying to gain those subscribers quickly, it's not going to lead to long term growth. Plus, like you said, YouTube doesn't like it. So why are you doing it? It's better to look at like the long game, focus on the videos that you're creating, learn the algorithm, SEO, all of that stuff that's going to get you so much farther compared to the number. Like I think a lot of people think, oh, the more subscribers I have, it's like that number is going to get me farther. When in reality, if your subscribers aren't watching your videos, if they don't actually care about your content, it's not helping you at all. Like that number doesn't then mean anything.
Yeah, because you're inflating something that isn't real. I love that quote
Yes.
that short-term strategies rarely lead to long-term success. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
So I do see that people are asking, how do you get subscribers then? Like you've had viewers, what are some good hooks that you've noticed that helps you gain those subscribers?
So for me, I think what helped to really like skyrocket my channel because I struggled to grow for the longest time and then I started to see results. One of the things was that I had binge worthy content and something that people actually wanted to subscribe to. And I think that's like so underrated. People think, oh, if I have a good video and if one video goes viral, that's awesome. When in reality, you need to have quality content that people actually want to watch, that they look forward to, that they actually care to subscribe to, like I already said. But one of the other things I think that helped me and something that I just think helps in general, I know a lot of people don't like it, but when you say, like my video, subscribe to my channel, it honestly does work. And
Yeah.
a lot of people, especially if they're new to YouTube, like I guess like my parents, let's use them as an example. They don't know that subscribing to a YouTube channel helps a YouTube channel. Like they wouldn't actually know that. And some of your viewers may not realize that a simple like does make a difference and it does help to increase your engagement and trigger the algorithm. So maybe if you feel bad asking for subscribers, just say it helps to support your channel and people are more likely to do it.
Yeah, and going back to like a similar point, like some of people in the older generation, like they're like, how many people pay to subscribe? I'm like, no, subscribing is free. So like they're like, you may think, and one thing I think we all can get like we can be all victims to is like we know the platform, we're on it every day. We forget
Mhm.
what it's like to look at this platform if you've never seen it before.
Yeah. Yeah. Even, I mean, yesterday, so we had a little celebration for my 100,000 subscribers, and we sent a picture to my aunt, and she was like, cool. What does that mean? And I had to like explain to her what that actually meant because, yeah, I mean, it's a foreign world to some people. So,
And I think that that kind of also humbles us because like as much as we think that right now YouTube is the world,
yeah.
it always reminds us. But I do think that that's an incredible achievement, an amazing milestone. And so I'm not sure how long I can keep you. I realize we've gone over time, so I hope you don't.
It's fine. I could talk for days about YouTube, so we're good.
So all right, another 24-hour stream, he says as he cries. I I still have my recyclable 4 coffees from the 24-hour stream. So that was a fun one. I stayed up the entire 24, folks. We are working on that replay. I know someone is going to ask. We're waiting on YouTube's processing. You think it takes a while to process your uploads from the upload screen? Oh boy, does it take much longer when it is completely on their systems.
Oh my gosh.
So I wanted to ask, just because we have some more questions coming in, and again, please use hashtag question. This one is, I think, a very important question that not a lot of people ask. And that is, when you are creating content, what is your viewpoint? Like, what do you define as that video is a success in that first 24 hours? Like, what are you looking for personally? Because everyone is different. What are you looking for to where you can go, all right, that video was a success for me?
In the first 24
Yes,
hours?
someone asked specifically.
So again, this is all relative to your channel, but one thing
Yes.
I like about the new YouTube dashboard is that like on, well, I think it's actually called like the dashboard, like the first page within the Creator Studio is they give you a ranking of your last 10 videos and how they've performed. So that's one area that I do like to pay attention to because it helps to tell me, okay, what is my audience actually interested in? And if the thumbnail and title worked. Because if it's not getting views, like there's something that I did wrong there and it could be the topic of the video or whatever else. But yeah, I mean, I think for that one, it's really easy to take a look at your numbers, and I definitely do. And I kind of decide, okay, either this video popped off, it did well, or it didn't. But it also comes down to like how your audience engaged with it and if they liked it. So I do pay attention to like how many dislikes I get. And if I get like it's like an 80 some percent, then I know my audience didn't really actually enjoy that video. And that's something I should pay attention to more. Like, is my audience actually enjoying it compared to how many views did I actually get?
Fair. So I think when you're looking at that data, one of the things you probably look at is how engaged was your subscriber base, right? Like,
Mhm.
because YouTube shows us how many views came from your subscribers. So I think that's important. But, as we're speaking on those subscribers, we have another question here. And this is from
Your transition.
I had 24 hours to work on it. So this is from Abdul's World, and they said, question, is paying for subscribers good or no? I'm going to let you take this one.
No, don't do it. It's what we like just talked about. Like the number is not going to mean anything. If you're paying for subscribers, you're not getting high quality people that actually want to watch your content.
And I think that is simple. I think paying for subscribers is worse, if not is just as bad, if not worse than sub for sub, because it's hurting you, and YouTube can find out and will ban your channel. We see it happen all the time. The amount of times subscriber counts change because they're getting rid of bots or fake subscribers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So someone just said that you've recently hit 100,000 subscribers. Did you hit it before? Did you have an idea of when you'd hit it? And were you on target was the question.
Ooh, so this is actually, I love talking about this. Um, YouTube. So when your channel's doing well, sometimes they'll give you a notification.
A slight disconnect from the chat. Again, every time we ask a hard-hitting question, YouTube's like, no.
No.
So I'm not sure how much they heard. If you guys are seeing us again, just quickly refresh. We should be back. YouTube had a weird funny there, but I'll ask the question again just in case for those who may have been lost. Were you on target to when you estimated hitting 100,000 subscribers?
Yeah, so this is honestly a question that I love because your channel can take off at any time and you don't truly know what's going to happen. And I like to think that growth is exponential. Is that the right word? So one month you could receive 200 subscribers, the next month you could receive 2,000 subscribers. So if I was paying attention to YouTube, it was really funny when I was around 84,000 subscribers, they gave me a message and they said, okay, you're going to hit 85,000 subscribers in 2 months. When in the previous months I was gaining like 20 plus thousand subscribers a month. And I was like, okay, but you're saying it's going to take me 2 months to gain 1,000 subscribers. Like it just doesn't make any sense. So the projections that they give you sometimes, those are all calculated based off of your past experiences and they take a look at like several months. It's not just like your past month. So I knew myself what day I was going to hit 100,000 subscribers just because I saw the trend and I knew how many subscribers I was gaining a day. But if I was paying attention to those projections, no, it would have taken me like, if like even back in October, if they would have given me projections, they would have said it would take me like 5+ years to hit 100,000.
And I think it's cool that you were able to identify the trends and make your own path, create your own destiny in a way.
Yeah, yeah. So I usually don't say, okay, like this day I'm gonna hit this number. Like that was I only did that for 100,000 and maybe I'll do it for like 200,000 or whatever. But I wanted to vlog that day and I wanted to like vlog me seeing that I hit 100,000. So I did pay attention to like that week following, okay, this day I gained this many subscribers and it was like on trend. And I was like, okay, I think it's gonna hit this day. And yeah, I mean, I'm not promoting checking your analytics and saying, okay, this day I'm going to hit because it can change at any point in time. But for certain milestones, do it.
Well, again, we also had a very difficult time like syncing of, remember, the audience clearly knows more than we. We had to sync both of our achievements, so I'm glad you helped us behind the scenes to sync.
Exactly.
So this is a question, and I see this from Wiki1 to Z, who says, when you live stream, does that add to your total watch time for monetization? They're talking about the 4,000 hours. Yes, it does. So I can quickly answer that question. Someone just said, I watch her videos. Is it due to TubeBuddy? So I think they're saying, are you I think what they're trying to say is, did they find your videos through help of TubeBuddy? Do you think that's a way
I
people are
mean,
finding
probably.
it?
I've been using TubeBuddy. I mean, I can't even tell you how long. I've been using it like far before I started growing on YouTube. And it was because of another creator's videos. They said that they used TubeBuddy, and I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a shot. And yeah, so I mean, I would attribute some of it to TubeBuddy.
And we would attribute a lot of our success from creators just like you, helping spread the word of our tool. Like, one thing that is just as important is like, yes, we have a large community here at TubeBuddy, but we're nothing without amazing users like yourself, right? And I think that that is something that we can't understate and that we can't undervalue, is just that important. And that's why I'm so glad you were just happened to be on Twitter that day, because it is really cool to see people grow and rise up in the community. And similar to the quote you have behind you, is that no one can do exactly what you do the exact way you do it. And I think that's an amazing standpoint. We are at 381. The highest I saw our viewership was at 396. Catherine, I think you need to live stream if you haven't picked up.
My, we like crushed that record. Thank
I
you,
know.
guys.
They're RIP my old record. I'm just joking. But I do.
Black made.
We make a new milestone. Move over, YouTube. We can do this. But here's an interesting question. They said that their subscribers tell them that they're not getting their videos. What can they do to help their subscribers see their videos? So I want to get your opinion on this, but I also want to share my screen and show an interesting thing really quick. So Catherine, why don't you go ahead and kind of, while I'm sharing this, give your kind of piece on it, because they can still hear you just perfectly.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so my thoughts on that, guys. So people can be subscribed to your channel. They can have notifications on, and then there's like options underneath the notifications. But one thing that a lot of people miss is that they don't actually have notifications on their phone, like in the settings of their phone. They don't have those turned on, so they don't actually receive notifications from YouTube. So that could be a problem. And again, it's like my parents would have absolutely no idea how that works. So you might have to explain it within your YouTube videos. But the other thing I've heard, and you might actually be able to prove if this is true or know that it's true, I've heard that YouTube will only send out 3 notifications to a person in one day. So if someone subscribed to a bunch of channels, then they may not get your notification. Is that true?
So I don't know if it's the exact number is 3. YouTube just says that they don't send out every notification. So it's classic YouTube speak where it's like 3 might be it. I mean, I only have secondhand knowledge. Like, I know my girlfriend, for example, she subscribes and rings the bell. She gets like blasted with notifications. So I've seen evidence to the contrary. One thing that I would check is if people are saying that they've ringed the bell and that they check, one thing you got to keep in mind is like YouTube now shows us if should be back on the YouTubes. We are back. You know, YouTube may try to keep us down for showing the back end, but we made it back.
That's it. We're exposing all their secrets.
Uh, Basically, folks, we should be back live. Sorry about that. I do see we're back. All right, people are excited again. So YouTube was like, what if at the height we were like, nah, they've been on too long. They've had things too good. I do not speak for YouTube. This is not a legal representation of YouTube as a company. Please do not sue me, Google.
Disclaimer.
Right. But basically what I was trying to show, and I'm afraid to show again, but YouTube now shows you what percentage of your audience got a notification if they rang the bell and what percent clicked through, right?
Yeah.
So to answer the question, which was what do we do if people are not getting notifications and they are doing everything? If they're not getting notifications, the best thing I can say at that point is maybe ask them to follow you on other socials. Maybe if you have an email list, which maybe is something you could consider, but it's one of those things where what would you do if someone says, Catherine, their subscribers are telling them they're not getting notifications? What would your advice be on that?
So there's other things you can do. And like you said, other social media platforms. So whether that be Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, like let your audience know that a video is live. The other thing that can really help is if you can stick to a set uploading time, then your audience knows when to be there and they don't have to wait for a notification.
Fair. You're again taking the control, and there can be a strategy to the socials too. Like you can plan out when you release your content, you can repost it. There's also the community tab. Like if a few days have passed, you can post your videos there.
Yeah.
Are you using YouTube stories at all, Catherine?
I'm not. I don't know. I haven't bought into it yet, mainly because I'm a big lover of Instagram stories. So I already talk a lot on there, and I just feel like maybe I could save those and then re-upload them to YouTube. I mean, that could be a way to work it, but yeah.
My main thing on the YouTube stories is I hate that they're only 7 days. Like it lives for a week. That's a long time.
Yeah, agreed. That's the nice thing about Instagram stories. It goes away within 24 hours, so you can share fresh content all the time.
Yeah, and one thing that there is an advantage of on the YouTube stories, which we will make sure to post, mods, if you can post what the requirements are for the YouTube stories, is that you can post to a new piece of content. We've actually found some success on the TubeBuddy YouTube channel with it, but I do think that there is strategy to be had if your subscribers are not getting your content. But, you know, if people want more strategy and more ways to grow their YouTube channel, Catherine, how can they learn more about you?
Oh my gosh, guys, I've got so many videos for you. So my channel is Catherine Manning, or youtube.com/Catherine Manning. You can also follow me on Instagram, Catherine_Manning. I've got a website, which is still thecontentbug.com, but that's going to be changing here soon. And yeah, really, I've got all of my strategies, my journey. Like I try to be as transparent and honest as possible on my channel. So definitely go subscribe.
It is definitely worth checking out. Catherine, thank you so much for joining us on TubeBuddy. I hope we can work more with you in the future, but everyone check her out. Catherine, congrats on 100,000 subscribers.
Thank you, and congrats on 300,000.
All right, everyone. Have a great rest of your days.
Bye, guys.